So yung lesson natin bilang panimula ng differential equation is all about the preliminary concepts of differential equation. Okay, kilala na ninyo ako, hindi ko na kailangang magpakilala. Dalawang beses ko na kayong naging estudyante last semester sa mga iba't ibang subjects natin. So ito nga pala yung course description ng ating subject na differential equations. Allow me to read it first to all of you. This course is intended for all engineering students to have a firm foundation on differential equations in preparation for their degree-specific advanced mathematics courses. It covers first-order differential equations, nth-order linear differential equations, and systems of first-order linear differential equations. It also introduces the concept of Laplace transforms or the Laplace transformation in solving differential equations. The students are expected to be able to recognize different kinds of differential equations and determine the existence and uniqueness of solution. Select the appropriate methods of solution and interpret the obtained solution. Students are also expected to relate differential equations to various practical engineering and scientific problems, as well as employ computer technology in solving and verifying solutions. Napakahirap ng subject na ito. Ito yung laging sinasabi ng ibang mga kabataan na nag-aaral ng engineering o yung mga nag-graduate na ng engineering. Dito nahihirapan halos lahat ng mga engineering students at medyo tumatagal sa engineering dahil sa differential equation na subject. And even me, nung ako rin yung nag-aaral, katulad ninyo, naranasan ko rin mahirapan sa differential equation. Mahirap siya. At isa pa, napakalaga naman ng subject na yan kahit mahirap. May application yan sa science at saka sa engineering. May mga problems tayo sa application na makikita natin. Nandiyan yung Newton's cooling method. Makaka-encounter din tayo ng physics and probability sa differential equations. Kung aaralin nyo lang talaga ang probability, napakahirap ng probability kung aaluan natin ng differential equations yung ating discussion. Anyway po, wala pa naman kayo sa probability. The following SEM pa lang yan pagdating nyo ng third year. Engineering Data Analysis. Yung chapter 1 ng Engineering Data Analysis is more on permutations, combinations, fundamental principles of counting techniques, the Venn diagram, the tree diagram, hanggang umabot kayo ng probability. And then papasok no ng descriptive at saka yung inferential. So yun yung content ng Engineering Data Analysis na i-advance ko lang, no? So if I were you, mula sa simula ng differential equations hanggang sa dulo, pakatutukan natin. Kasi sa simula, madali lang yan eh. Pero habang tumatagal, habang nagle-level up tayo, umihirap na ng konti yung mga topics natin. So I'm just telling you the truth. Okay, continue. Before we start, I want to start my lesson with the following quotes na napili ko lang sa net. Hindi sa akin galing yung mga words na yan. But I think makakatulong lang maigi sa inyong mga mag-aaral ngayon na kapag naintindihan natin at inintindi lang natin mabuti yung mga quotes na yan, may epekto sa atin, sa growth natin. Intelligence without wisdom brings forth misery. By L.M. Di ko kilala yung personality, no? Pero nagustuhan ko lang yung kanyang quote. Intelligence without wisdom brings forth misery. Tayong mga nag-aaral ngayon, wag nating kalilimutan na hindi lamang ang intelligence ang mahalaga sa mundo. Kasi kahit merong kanyan, kung wala kang kababaan ng loob, hindi ka obedient, baliwala yan. Intelligence without wisdom is nothing more than stupidity that looks smart. Nagmumukha ka lang smart dahil matalino ka. But into reality, dahil salat ka sa wisdom, baliwala yung katalinuhan. So yan ang ibig sabihin ni Craig Longsborough. So yan yung quote na kanyang ibinahagi sa atin. Now let us proceed. If you have question, pwede kayong mag-butt in, pwede kayong sumingit sa akin, sabihan nyo lang ako kaagad. Now before we start our chapter 1, lesson 1, I want to remind you of the following. You have to recall this or study the following kung hindi pa ninyo na-tackle sa inyong mga curriculum before o hindi pa ninyo na-take up ng senior high school o ng first year college. Sa college algebra, paki-review ang mga sumusunod. Hindi malayong maka-encounter tayo ng mga yan abang nagsusolve tayo ng differential equations. Ipinapauna ko na lang. Sa college algebra, kailangan nyo i-review ang factoring, special products, binomial expansion, partial fraction, synthetic division, long division, polynomials, and also I think rational expressions. Baka ka-encounter din kayo nun. Hindi ko lang naisulat sa ating slide. Second one, nandiyan pa rin ang plane trigonometry. Kailangan alam pa rin ninyo ang 6 trigonometric functions, the law of cosines, the law of sines, Pythagorean theorem, logarithms, including trigonometric identities. Magagamit lahat ang mga yan, lalo na kapag nagsisimplify tayo ng mga equations habang nag-aanap tayo ng differential equation sa mga problem na kinakalkula natin. Analytic plane geometry. Actually, ang analytic geometry, dalawa yan eh. Okay? Are you still with me? Are you still listening? Hindi ko kayo nakikita.
Yes, sir.
Paki-open yung mga camera ninyo. Huwag nyo na akong intindihin. Yan. Basta paki-open yung mga camera. Analytic plane geometry. Dalawa ang analytic geometry. Solid geometry, analytic solid geometry, and analytic plane geometry. Sa analytic plane geometry, i-reviewin ninyo yung mga yan. Saan ba gagamitin yan? Straight line, circles, parabola, ellipse, hyperbola, and polar coordinates. I think sa lesson 3, family of curves, gagamitin ninyo yan at saka sa topic nating orthogonal trajectory sa kalagitnaan sa analytic plane geometry. Accompanied by differential calculus. Lahat ng mga formula na nakabisado nyo before, ipunin yung muli kasi muli ninyong gagamitin ng mga yan, yung mga differentiation formulas na meron kayo. And not only that, paki-review din yung ibang applications sa differential calculus. Kailangan lahat ng mga yan ng nababanggit ko ngayon. Dahil kung hindi, mahihirapan talaga kayong maipasa ang subject na differential equation. May mga problem akong ibibigay sa inyo soon na mahihirap. Nagiging mahirap kasi nga hindi na ninyo nire-review yung mga ibang subject na na-experience na ninyo. So kailangan balikan ninyo. Integral calculus, lahat ng formula na nakabisado nyo kay Ma'am Roma, muli nating gagamitin. Sa area, sa volume, sa centroids, and other applications ng integral calculus, pasok lahat yan sa differential equation. And what more? Other subjects na involved sa differential equation are the following. Plane geometry, solid geometry, analytical solid geometry, probability and stat, engineering economy, physics, and etc. Napaka-broad at napakalawak talaga ng differential equation. So kailangan ninyong pagbutiin sa simula pa lamang. Okay. Question so far, wala ba kayong gustong itanong sa mga ibinigay kong suggestions sa inyo or comment na kailangan ninyong aralin?
Wala naman po.
Okay, very good. So pwede na akong mag-proceed. So Module 1, Chapter 1, ito yung lesson natin mula week 2 hanggang week 4. So nasa week 2 tayo ngayon. Next week, iba na naman yung lesson natin. The following week, iba na naman yung lesson natin. And every week, meron kayong activity na sasagutin. Mamaya, nakahanda na yung activity 1 ninyo, learning activity 1. Pwede na ninyong sagutin right after ng ating discussion. Objectives natin. At the end of the chapter, the students would be able to. Okay, yung objective na yan hanggang 4th week na yan, ano? Okay, pakibasa mo nga yung simula, James Balagtas, anak.
Determine the number of independent variables in a given DE.
Yes. Kailangan, after ng lesson natin, matutunan ninyo kung ilan ang independent variable na may mayroon ng ating differential equation. Yan ang una nating pag-aaralan. It is napakadali lang yan. Mark Magkalas, pakibasa ang pangalawang objective natin.
Take the order or degree of a differential equation.
Okay. State the order or degree of a DE. Actually, dapat state the order and degree of a DE. Okay? Gandaan ko lang yung pagkakasabi. Iba kasi ang meaning ng order, iba ang degree. Kapag pinag-uusapan ng order at degree, actually into reality, nangyayari yan. Okay? Kung pipili ka kasi, kunwari, ng isang restaurant na pagkakainan, tingnan mo muna, magmasid ka muna. Tingnan mo kung saan mas maraming tao. Ang ibig sabihin, doon mas masarap yung nilulutong mga pagkain. So doon yung degree nun kasi doon mas marami yung umu-order na tao. So ganun lang kasimple yun. Mamaya i-relate ko sa discussion natin. Kala ng iba ang differential equation, pang-academic lang. Actually, ginagawa na natin yan araw-araw. Okay? I-explain ko mamaya. Pangatlo, tell whether the given DE is ordinary or partial differential equation. Sasabihin nyo lang kung ordinary ba yan or partial differential equation ba ang given example. So yung unang objective, ilan ba ang independent variable na meron ng ating DE? Sa pangalawang objective, ano ang order ng ating DE? Ano naman ang degree ng ating differential equation? Ang given example ba natin is ordinary or partial? Malaki yung maitutulong ng mga yan, the future sa paghahanap natin ng solusyon sa problem. Kasi bago tayo mag-solve, pipili muna tayo ng method na ating i-apply sa given equation para ma-solve yung problem. Okay, continue. Pangapat, pakibasa mo nga, Kevin Santos.
Describe if a given DE is linear or non-linear.
Okay. So, i-describe mo yung equation kung linear ba siya or non-linear. So, yun yung pangapat nating objective. Kailangan, after ng discussion natin, magaling na kayo sa mga yan. Okay, next. Alonso Marden, pakibasa mo nga anak. Alonso? Computer Engineering?
State the DV and IV of the given DE.
Okay. State the DB. Ang ibig sabihin ng DB, dependent variable. Ang IB is independent variable. Masanay na kayo sa acronym na DE. Ang ibig sabihin niyan, differential equations. So mamayang konti, matututo na tayo kung paano ba alamin ang dependent variable at ang independent variable. Ang dependent variable, laging nakadepende yan sa independent variable. Okay? Ang dependent variable naman, mayroon siyang mga dependent. Yan ang mga dependent variables. Parang sa reality, ang ama ng taanan, independent. Ang kanyang mga dependents ay ang kanyang mga anak. Okay, so let's proceed. Pakibasa mo nga, Charles Dominic Sebastian, yung pang-anim na objective natin.
Solve for the differential equation of a given relation function by eliminating arbitrary constants.
Okay, this objective is actually under ng lesson 2 natin. Sa lesson 2 na yan. So this time, we will try to solve for the DE of a given function or relation by eliminating arbitrary constants. Now, sa portion na yan, For your future reference lang. Kahit na hindi pa ako nagsosolve, i-discuss ko na kung ano yung gagawin ninyo. Dito, whether you like it or not, kailangan saulado mo pa rin ang yung mga differential calculus formulas. Kasi dito, kung ilan ang yung arbitrary constants, nakadepende doon kung ilang beses ka mag-aanap ng derivatives. So, ibig sabihin, pasok yung higher derivatives. Okay, kung apat yung arbitrary constant mo na kailangan ma-eliminate, 4 na beses ka mag-aanap ng derivative, ng higher derivative. And at the same time, kung hindi nawawala yung mga arbitrary constant in a given equation, kahit na nakapaganap na tayo ng higher derivatives, para makapag-eliminate tayo, dyan papasok ngayon ang algebra. So iba-iba yung method na ginagamit sa algebra sa pag-aanap ng mga unknown variables. We may use the systems of linear equation. It can be done by substitution, elimination, or Cramer's rule. So kailangan alam na ninyo yung mga yon. Hindi nyo pa rin nakakalimutan. Okay, continue. Pakibasa mo nga, mag-aanap ako ng ibang personality. Yan. Kimberly Piodos, ano yung susunod na objective?
Show that a given relation or function is a solution to a given differential equation.
Yes, this is already proving. Under pa rin yan ng lesson 2. Kailangan ma-prove natin yung ibinigay na equation na ito ba ay solusyon ng given differential equation, yung function na ibinigay. So, yun yung ating objective number 7. Next week na yan, lesson 2 yan. And then, we have another objective. Marian Yuson, pakibasa nga.
Obtain the differential equation of the family of plane curves described.
Okay. So, obtain the differential equation of the family of plane curves described. Depende. Maaaring yung ibinigay na statement is under ng circle. So, kailangan kabisado mo yung concept ng circle. Ikaw kasi ang gagawa ng formulation mo. Ikaw mag-iisip, ikaw ang mako-conceptualize kung paano mo isosolve ang problem. Kailangan todong naintindihan mo talaga ang konsepto ng circle. And accompanied also by differential calculus. Kahit alam mo ang analytic geometry mo, kung nakalimutan mo ang differential calculus mo, baliwala pa rin. Hindi mo pa rin maaanap ang differential equation. Okay? So those are our objectives for today's session hanggang week 4. So yun yung mga kailangan nating ma-meet. And then last but not the least, sketch several representative members of the family. Okay, may family of curves tayong tinatawag under ng differential equation. Now let us proceed to our lesson for today. So may mga pretest akong inianda, no? Maglibang-libang muna tayo bago tayo tuluyang papunta sa chapter 1, lesson 1. Describe the following differential equations. Yan. So una, nagbigay ako ng DE. So bibigyan ko lang kayo ng idea, no? Yan ang differential equation natin. Ang aaralan natin, ganito. Ganito yung aaralin natin. Ano daw yung dependent variable ng given equation? Ilan ba ang independent variable? Ilan ba ang number of independent variable? At ano yung independent variable? Ano yung order ng degree? O ano yung order of differential equation natin? Ano naman yung degree of differential equation natin? Ordinary ba yan o partial differential equation? Linear ba o non-linear ang ating given equation? So dito, naka-classify muna tayo. Reason or purpose kung bakit kailangan yung matutunan na mag-classify ng equation, dito kasi nakasalalay, dito nyo malalaman kung anong method or technique ang gagamitin natin para mabigyan ng solusyon ng ating problem. Sa kalagitnaan ng semester natin yon. Okay, next. So ito naman yung problem number 2 and number 3. Same problem. Ganun pa rin ang gagawin natin. Ibibigay yung dependent variable, ilan yung independent variable, ano yung independent variable, ano yung order ng DE, degree of DE, ordinary ba or partial, linear ba or non-linear ang ating DE. So, 5 yan, I think, sa pretest. So, we have 5 items sa pretest. Pwede nyo sagutin yung mga yan, ha? Pansarili ninyo yan, pero hindi kasama sa grading yan. Kasi pretest lang yung mga yan. Para meron lang kayong pagpraktisan. Then, second one, under yan ng lesson 2. In advance ko na. Para kapag nakapag-discuss ako ng elimination of arbitrary constant, pwede na ninyong simulang sagutin bilang practice lang. Iba kasi yung sasagutin nyo talaga dyan eh. Merong learning activity number 2. So yun yung mga sasagutin ninyo after na na-finish ko na yung lesson ng elimination of arbitrary constant. So sasagutin yung lahat yung mga yan. For the lesson 3, nag-prepare lang ako ng 5 question. Pare-parehong straight line. Kasi pretest pa lang naman yan. So obtain the differential equation of the family of plane of curves. Describe and sketch several representative members of the family. So lahat ng mga yan, hahanapan natin ng differential equations. 5 items. So similar lang yung mga yan. Hindi ko muna pinahirap yung simula kasi pretest lang naman yan. Pero kailangan practicein nyo pa rin para mahasa kayo ng pag-aanap ng differential equation. Although sa 4th week pa lang naman yung lesson na yan. Yung first week kasi natin is more on orientation tayo. So Module 1, Chapter 1, Introduction. Lesson 1, Definition and Classifications of Differential Equations. So simulan na natin. So sinimulan ko yung introduction natin sa basic definition of term under ng differential equation. Kailangan maliwanagan muna tayo kung ano ba ang kahulugan ng mga terminong ginagamit natin. So una, ito yung definition ng differential equation. Pakibasa mo nga, Angel Nicole.
Differential equation is mainly used in fields such as physics, engineering, biology, business, and so on.
Okay. May application pala. Napaka-importante pala ng DE sa physics, engineering, biology, or any other sciences, businesses, and so on. Maraming use ang ating differential equation subject. Mararanasan nyo rin yan sa bandang uli ng ating lesson. Darwin Terrio, pakibasa nga yung definition ng differential equation.
Its main purpose is the study of solutions that satisfy the equations and properties of solutions.
Okay, so that is the second definition. Its main purpose is the study of solutions that satisfy the equations and properties of solutions. Lalim. Okay, next definition. Din Fortes, pakibasa nga.
An equation which contain derivatives, either ordinary derivatives or partial derivatives.
Okay, matatawag nating differential equation ang isang equation kapag meron itong napapaloob na derivative. And at the same time also function, hindi lang derivative. Either ordinary or partial ang ating given differential equation. Ang importante, merong derivative yan at function yan. So yun yung pangatlong definition ng ating differential equation. Alam naman yun yung mga derivative, yung mga may dy over dx, d square y over dx square, yung second derivative, third derivative, na ituro ko na sa inyo yan last year. Okay. Next, pakibasa nga, Mary Ann Yuson.
An equation that contains one or more function with its derivatives.
Okay, so that's good. An equation that contains one or more functions with its derivatives. Kapag may derivative at may function ang isang given natin, ang ibig sabihin yan ay isang halimbawa ng differential equation. Another definition, Rizal Macalino, pakibasa nga.
An equation that contains one or more function with its derivatives. Wait lang, sir. An equation containing terms which involves the derivatives of one variable, i.e. dependent variable with respect to other variable, i.e. or different variable.
Okay. An equation containing terms which involves the derivatives of one variable na tinatawag nating dependent variable with respect to other variable, ang ibig sabihin is independent variable. So may connection yung independent variable and yung dependent variable sa isa't isa. So equation yan na may mga terms na may derivative at meron ding mga dependent variable and independent variable. Usually ang y, lagi natin ginagamit yan as dependent variable. Yung mga denominators na nasa derivative symbol natin, yun ang mga independent. Okay? Laging nakadepende ang dependent variable sa independent variable. Always remember that. So this is now our illustration of differential equation. So mag-concentrate na kayo dito. I prepare a differential equation example. And this is actually dy over dx is equal to f of x. F of x is also y. Tandaan nyo, no? Ang f of x yan din ang y. Para walang yung dalawang yan. Kaya yung dalawang equation na yan, same lang. Nasa first derivative tayo niyan kasi dy over dx. Kung papansinin natin yung mga power ng dy at dx, nasa 1 lang. Okay? Dahil may derivative, at kapag may y, ibig sabihin, meron tayong function. May derivative, may function. Okay. Yan, ipapakita ko. Wherein daw, ang d over dx ay tinatawag nating differential operator. Ang d over dx. Y naman, yan ang ating dependent variable. Tandaan nyo ha, ang d over dx, differential operator yan. Ang y, dependent variable yan. Very basic.